Week 12. We're doing this pick'em a little different this time. What is up, football fans? Obviously, this channel is a Miami Dolphins channel, but I do my picks. So this will be for our football fans, but I'm going to preference a little bit towards the Miami Dolphin fans. I also will be doing it Sunday after the game. Side note, I put my Christmas decorations up because I love Christmas and I'll put them up as soon as I can. But of course, one of the fucking string lights went out. I plugged it in. It was fine. And then I put it up and it's out. It's like it go. Then of course you gotta go through each of the lights and see which one it is, and then I can just put it. Anyway, we are gonna jump into the picks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you guys who you should root for to lose. If you are on the side of the Dolphin fans that think, hey, we still have a chance at the playoffs, I'll tell you who you would root for to lose. And if you're like, no, I want higher draft picks, I think the team is going to collapse, screw that, yada, yada, I will tell you who to root to win. So I'll throw a little mixer in there, and this is what you're going to get for the next 6 weeks after this. Kind of maybe spruce up the pick video. So let's jump into this, and we are going to go into it. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. Go check them out. Use the promo code DDW. You get 100% up to $100, or you can go and get a free $20 entry. And it's very easy. This is what the site looks like. I show you this all the time. It's really fun. And you can do NBA. Like if you're more into NBA or want to kind of do that, you got the more or less on the points and the rebound, point and rebound. Like you could do NBA. You could do I think they have college football. But yeah, they have college football. You could do more or less with, all that stuff. But for this video, we're doing the picks. Now, last week, your boy did much better than I normally do. I went 12-3. I had the Chargers beating the Jaguars. Of course, the Chargers sucked it up. Justin Herbert was hot trash. 35-6. And here, raffle off all these excuses you want for why Justin Herbert looked like booty cheeks, but it is what it is. I actually picked the Lions to beat the Eagles. I thought that was going to be a little bit more of a thing. The refs definitely helped the Eagles. And I thought the Chiefs would beat the Broncos. So my picks weren't that far off. I did pretty good. But we're going to go into the current one. We're going to start with tonight's game, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Houston Texans. Buffalo is giving 4.5. Now, if you are a part of the fan base that wants to get into the playoffs, you are rooting for the Buffalo Bills. Now, obviously, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game. I don't think CJ Stroud is playing this game. They're giving 4.5 and they're on the road. I think they'll win by a touchdown. So that helps the Miami Dolphins climb the ladder into getting closer to that 7 seed. Again, for the people who want that, for the people who think that could still happen, you want Buffalo to win and beat Houston. As you can see, Houston's 5-5. The Miami Dolphins are 4-7. So there's that. But I obviously think Buffalo's going to win. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Then you have the New York Jets taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are giving 14 points. Holy crap. Now, you want the Ravens to lose this one. They're not going to lose this one. Obviously, let me just get this out of the way. They're not going to lose this one. Could it be closer than 14 points? No. I would even take the Ravens with the 14. And if you're a draft pick wanter, you kind of want the Jets to win. So if the Jets did win this one, it'd be a nice, 1-2 combo of helping the Dolphins getting closer to higher picks and also helping the Dolphins potentially get the 7 seed. Neither of one of those is going to happen, in my opinion. I have the Ravens winning, and I have them even winning, giving 14 points. Then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, here's a little caveat here, right? So Pittsburgh is getting 3 points. Now, I don't know as of right now the update on Aaron Rodgers' wrist. It is his left wrist, not his throwing wrist. I think he has a fracture in it, give or take. And Chicago's been doing well. They eked out a win last week with the last second field goal against the Minnesota Vikings. I think this is a close one, and this is a good one. Now, again, if you are, I want to get closer to the playoffs, obviously there's no way that Baltimore is losing to the Jets. You kind of want the Steelers to lose this one to, again, give the Ravens the number one seed, the division, AFC North, and the Dolphins still have to play the Steelers, so they still have that kind of in their hand. You know what? I'm going with Chicago, and I might change that if Aaron Rodgers plays. But as of right now, I'm going Chicago. But Chicago's a very up and down team. I don't really know how to feel about Chicago. They either play really good or they play really bad. So there's that. Then we have the New England Patriots taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. New England giving 7.5. And Cincinnati, Joe Burrow was a full participant in practice yesterday. I'm recording this on a Wednesday. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. One more time. Very interesting. Now, if you want to get a higher draft pick, you want the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game. I personally don't think they will win this game, and I think it has a lot to do. Even if Joe Burrow's playing, Joe Flacco's playing, either of the Joes are playing, it's the Bengals defense. I don't think they're going to be able to stop anything New England does. It opened at 5.5, and now it's at 7.5. I'm still taking New England, giving 7.5. Yeah, there's that. Plain and simple. Next, we have the New York Giants taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Detroit's giving 10.5. I am going with Detroit. You want the Giants to win this one. Help your draft stock, potentially get closer to moving up, because I think if they win, they'll have 3 wins. Dolphins have 4. It ain't happening. The Detroit Lions are going to win this game, and I think they're going to reel off of the anger that they have with the refs against Philly. There's not much more I could say about that. This next one's a good one. Minnesota heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers has no correlation to the Miami Dolphins when it comes to playoffs, and has no correlation to the Miami Dolphins when it comes to draft picks, because both of these teams are way ahead of the Dolphins when it comes to draft picks. Ahead is in higher in number. You know what I'm saying? And they're the NFC teams. So this one is just me picking who I think. Now, Green Bay is so hot and cold with their offense and so hot and cold with their defense. It is so hard to decide how are they going to play. Same thing with Minnesota, with J.J. McCarthy and his alter ego 9. It's such a dumb thing for that man to say. And their defense. I'm going with Green Bay. But that 6.5, I would go with Minnesota. Actually, now that I think about it, Minnesota has 4 wins. So for the draft pick to secure getting a higher draft pick than Minnesota, you want Minnesota to win. But I don't think they win. I think Green Bay wins this one. Next, we have a good one. This is actually a really good one. You have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City's giving 3.5. It is in Kansas City, Missouri. Now we want the Colts to win this one. That helps the Dolphins move up I think it does. I think it really helps them move up when it comes to the playoff seed. Now, this is an interesting one because, the Chiefs lost to the Broncos. Colts are kind of, up and down, up and down. They're really depending on what happens. Well, not what happens, but they really depend on, my brain's not working, Jonathan Taylor. So if Kansas City can really shut down Jonathan Taylor, then it really bodes well for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Houston all are 5 wins. So again, if they lose this game and then Dolphins win next week against the Saints, that will propel the Dolphins higher up when it comes to the playoff seed. I think Kansas City wins this one. They are home, and I think they really will focus on stopping Jonathan Taylor and making, Daniel Jones beat them. And we'll see how that pans out. But I will go with Kansas City. And it's only 3.5. So I think it's probably be a 1-score winner there. Then we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee is probably going to get the number 1 seed. Seattle's giving 13 points. Tennessee is just down bad at this point. How many wins do they have, Tennessee? They have 1. They're 1-9. They're 1-9. Giants, Cleveland, Saints and Jets, and Vegas are 2 wins. Then again, you have the Commanders, the Falcons, the Bengals, and Arizona at 3 wins, and then you have the Dolphins at 4. So, I'm talking about the 3 winners. They should win, help the Dolphins move up. But also, it would help if some of these 2 winners win. But the Dolphins do play the Saints and the Jets in the next upcoming game. So that really helps them. When it comes to, hey, they'll lose those 2 games, then, they move up in the draft stock. They win. It helps it either way. But, yeah, Seattle's winning this one. Like I said, down bad, real down bad. They got the Jaguars taking on the Cardinals. We want the Cardinals to win. Obviously, they're a 3-win team. The Dolphins are a 4-win team. So if you want to move up in the draft, you want the Cardinals to win. But if you want to move up in the playoff seeds, you want the Jaguars to lose. So as a Miami Dolphin fan, you should be a very, very big Cardinals fan Sunday. Because the Cardinals win, it helps both ways in knocking the Jaguars down a little bit and gives them the win. So, again, moves them down in the draft stock. So, I honestly think the Jaguars, again, you can click on it and do all these fancy things. I think the Jaguars are going to win this one. Did I do it again? Son of a biscuit. But don't be surprised at Arizona. Jacoby Brissett is going to, he's doing some pretty good things there. Then we have Cleveland taking on the Raiders. None of these teams have any implication when it comes to the Dolphins and the playoffs, but they do have implications on moving up in the draft order. Now, they both are 2-win teams, so either one wins, it helps the Dolphins. I think it's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. You're getting Shedeur Sanders is getting his first start with the Cleveland Browns because Dylan Gabriel's in concussion protocol. Hopefully he has a better outing than he did last week in his short stint coming in. Can Geno Smith stop throwing interceptions? Those are all the big questions, but I have the Raiders at home. Then we have the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that Dallas is really they're like, we could do this, because if you look at the NFC standings, Dallas is not that far behind. They're 4-5, and you got 8 and no, there's nothing there. I'm picking Philly. Philly's the better team. I know that Quentin, the DT that the Cowboy trade for the Jets is doing very well for them. Eagles going to win that one. Then you got the Falcons taking on the Saints. Now, this is a win-win for the Dolphins. Either the Falcons lose, which helps the Dolphins move up in the draft, or the Saints lose, and it kind of helps the Dolphins again, gives the Saints an extra win. And then the Dolphins play them next week and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to win this one, but the Saints are giving 1.5 points. Michael Penix Jr. is out. He tore his PCL, his MCL. He's one of the CLs. He partial tear, so he's done for the year. Got Kirk Cousins coming in. I think that's going to give a little bit of a boost, but don't be surprised the Saints win that one. And if the Saints win that one, it's going to be real, real interesting. Then we have a very good Sunday night game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Rams. No implication on the Dolphins, whether it comes to draft picks or the playoffs. I'm taking the hot hand in the Rams. Rams are giving 6.5. I will take that as well. I think the Rams will win by a touchdown. I think Tampa Bay is going to make this a fun fought game. That's English. I like the Rams in this one. And then finally, Monday Night Football. You got the Carolina Panthers, who are rip-roaring hot 6-5, taking on the San Francisco 49ers, who are also doing very well 7-4. I'm going with the home team in the 49ers, giving 6.5. I'd actually take the Panthers with that 6.5. I think it's going to be a close game. Can Dowdle start running a little bit more? How is that all going to pan out? How's the 49ers offense going to work? All that good stuff. But the Dolphins don't play on Sunday, so I don't have to make the Dolphins pick, which is absolutely fantastic. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, I have a video talking about what happens or why the Dolphins might not make any changes, talking about Mike McDaniel and Champ Kelly. And then on Sunday, I will see you guys talking about how the wins or losses affected the Dolphins for the next 2 games. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. FN's up.